This video is a review of the Hitway BK29 Retro Electric Bike. I'm going to unbox, assemble, go over the controls and settings, test ride, and review the e-bike. The BK29 has a 750 watt rear hub motor with a max speed of 25 miles per hour or 40 kilometers per hour when unlocked, twist throttle, 48 volt 15 amp hour battery with a range of up to 50 miles or 80 kilometers, front and rear disc brakes, 20 by 4-inch tires, 7-speed Shimano Altus rear derailleur, headlight, taillight, front and rear suspension, and weighs 73 pounds or 33 kilograms. Additional specs can be found in the description section below. This is the box that it came in. It's quite large. It's about 3 feet high, 4 feet long, and 1 foot deep. This was everything inside the box. We have the bike itself, the front wheel. This is the instruction manual. In this box we have reflectors, there's pedals, the front skewer, Allen keys, a bell. Looks like there's some rubber protectors for the rear axle, a bike lock, and then some zip ties. There's also the charger. There's a bike pump, front headlight, and the fenders. The first thing we're going to do is install the handlebar, and in the instruction manual says your stem might be facing the other way. So if that's the case, there's a screw down here that you need to loosen, one on this side that you need to loosen, and one up here that you need to loosen. You'll need to turn the stem around so that it's centered with the frame and perpendicular to the fork, and then you'll tighten the top one and then the two on the side. For my one, it's already facing forward. You can see that the fork is bigger on this side and it's relatively centered. So I'm going to take my Allen key. I'm going to take out these 4 bolts. And then I can remove this bracket. I'm going to put the handlebar here with the display facing inwards. I'm going to have this handlebar centered and then put these bolts back in. I'm not going to fully tighten these bolts, but I want to make sure that they're relatively even in tightness. I can adjust the handlebar to make sure that it's centered. I can also sit on the bike and figure out what angle is most comfortable. It'll probably be better to tighten this after you put the front wheel up because you can actually sit on it and adjust the height. But for now, I feel like this is pretty comfortable. I'm going to tighten these evenly in a X pattern. Inside the bag of supplies, we have this rubber cap we're going to place over here to protect it from water. You can also adjust the angle of the display, and when it's to your desired position, you can tighten these 2 screws. The brake levers are not level. I'm going to loosen them. I'm going to adjust them to what's most comfortable for me. Again, it's better to do this after the front wheel is on, but the instructions say to put the handlebar in first. We can always adjust these later. It says to install the headlight next, but I feel like it's going to be easier to put the front wheel in. I'm going to lift the front wheel and take off this protector bolt. Make sure that the caps are removed on both ends of the front wheel. we're going to slide this disc in between the brake pads. And then make sure that the fork rests on the front wheel. And then we'll take our skewer, loosen it, hold on to one side of the spring. The smaller side of the spring is facing inwards. So we're going to feed this through the front wheel, put the spring back in, and then the cap. Then you can twist the cap clockwise. I'm going to lift the front wheel to make sure that it's centered with the fork, and then I can close this. Then this would be a good time to put the kickstand down. Next, we're going to install the headlight, and the instructions aren't very clear of what order this goes in. Looking at the parts that we had in the bag, I'm using this rubber washer, this plate right here. I'm going to take the black metal washer here, and then this other bolt, and fasten it through all of it, and then tighten it. So that's this side. I'll do the same thing on the other side. So now that we have both sides, looking at the picture, there's this piece of plastic right here, and it looks like the headlight goes on the bottom of this. I'm not sure what these are for, but I'm going to install these black protectors here because I figured that's where the headlight goes on. This is going to go over the tube. We're going to use these brackets. There's a groove for the lower and upper. If I put on the upper, this is too large where it doesn't clamp onto this, so I need to put it on the lower one. I'm going to take this black bolt with the silver washer. Yours might be a little different. I'm going to feed it through this hole right here. Put this bracket on the lower one, feed it through, and then there's this other nut that goes on the other end. So I'm going to put all of this through here. It's going to look like this. So now I'm going to tighten it. You'll need a Phillips head screwdriver and also a 10mm on the back. Both of the tools are here, but it's difficult to take off the 10mm and hold it. I have one available, so I'm just going to hold the other end in the back and then tighten this with the Phillips head. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. On the back of the headlight, there is a yellow plug. Going to plug it here, and it just goes in one direction. So that's in. You can also adjust the headlight and tighten it with your hands. You can also use the tool that was provided. Now we're going to install the front fender. This goes back here. We're going to take our bolt and feed it through here, put in our rear fender bracket, and then this locking nut back here. Using our 10mm, we'll hold the nut in the back, and then we'll use our Allen key to tighten the front. Back here we have the longer fender. We have the smaller silver bolt. We have a silver washer. It's going to be the small bolt, silver washer, fender bracket. We're going to tighten it in this threaded part of the bike frame. We'll use our Allen key to finish tightening it. You can always bend this bracket so that it hugs closer to the fender. Next, we'll install the pedals. This one says L for left. It's lefty tighty, righty loosey for the left side. And then the right side is the opposite. It's righty tighty, lefty loosey. Let's put in the front reflector. There was a black screw in the bag. You'll take a reflector with a circle on the bottom, pop it into place, tighten the screw from the top. I decided to move the reflector towards the center in between the display because it looked more symmetrical. Let's take a look at the battery. It comes with 2 keys by the handlebar. You put the key in, turn it counterclockwise, and then you can slide the battery out. This is one side of the battery. It has the slot for the key. This is the other side of the battery. There is the charging port here. And then there's an on and off switch. Circle is off, the line is on. So if you turn it on, you can check the battery level on the front. The model number is down here in case you need to buy a replacement. And then these are the contacts. This is the locking mechanism. We can slide the battery back in and then lock it back into place. This is the charging port behind this piece of rubber. You would lift this, put the plug in, and then plug the other end into the outlet. It's not plugged in right now, but there's an LED indicator. This will be red if it's charging, and then it'll turn green when it's fully charged. Next, we'll install the reflectors. These reflectors are a bit unique. There's grooves that fit on top of the spoke, and then this piece slides on the other side and holds the spoke in place. And then you would take your silver screw and tighten it. We would put this over the spoke. We'll take this piece with the 2 pieces facing outwards. We're going to slide it and put the other side over the other side of the spoke. We'll take our silver screw and tighten it with our Phillips head screwdriver. We'll do the same on this side and then for the front wheel as well. Let's take a look at the handlebar. We have the grip. This is the front brake. This is the controls. There's 2 keys, a bell, the display, 7-speed shifter for the rear derailleur, rear brake lever, and twist throttle. On the controls, there's 3 buttons. There's a plus, minus, and a power button. Make sure that the switch on the battery is turned on, and then you can press and hold the power button in order to turn the screen on. Looking at the screen, we have the battery level, we have the current speed in miles per hour, the pedal assist level, and then some information. This currently shows the odometer. If we press the power button, it goes to trip A, voltage, it says current, and then time. Going back to odometer, we can change the pedal assist levels by pressing the up button or down button. There's 3 pedal assist levels. 0 means the throttle does not work. 1, we're getting 9 miles per hour. Pedal assist 2, we're getting 15.5 miles per hour. And pedal assist 3, we're getting 19.8 miles per hour. If we press and hold the plus button, it turns on the headlight. When the headlight is off, there's still a glowing running light. When you turn on the headlight, then the center light turns on. If you press and hold the minus button, it goes to a pedestrian walk mode that provides, it's around 2 miles per hour of assist. You can either press and hold the minus button or press the brake lever to turn it off. In order to go to the programming settings, you press and hold the plus and minus button. I'm going to show the different settings on screen, so I'll just quickly go over this. P1 is the backlit brightness. You can change the value by pressing up or down, and then pressing the power button goes to the next programming number. P2 is the mileage unit. You can change it from 1, which is miles, to 0, which is kilometers. P3 is the voltage level. It's 48 volts by default. P4 is dormancy time. It's 10 minutes by default. P5 is the help file bit, 0 by default. 6 is wheel diameter, 20 by default. 7 is speed gauge magnetic steel range, it's 1 by default. P8 is speed limit range. It's 25 by default. I was getting around 19.8 miles per hour. Even when I changed it to 100, I still got the same max speed. I'll show you guys later. P9 is 0 start, 0 by default, so 0 start is enabled. P10 is the drive mode set to 0. 11 is help sensitivity range, 3 by default. 12 is help start intensity setting, 3 by default. 13 is magnetic steel disc type, 12 by default. 14 is controller limit value set default, 12 amp range, it's 18 by default. 15 is current under voltage, it's 39 by default. 16 I believe is to reset the odometer. I think you press and hold the plus button for 5 seconds to erase it. But since I don't have any mileage on this, I can't really test it. 17 is enabling cruising, 0 is disabled, 1 is enabled. 18 is display speed ratio adjustment, it's 100 by default. 19 is 0 power bit, it's 0 by default. 20 is 0 to protocol, it's 0 by default. In order to get out of this, you can wait a few seconds or press and hold the plus and minus button. With the speed setting set to 100, I still get 19.8 miles per hour. In order to turn it off, you press and hold the power button. After recording the test ride, I reached out to the manufacturer asking them how to unlock the max speed from 20 miles per hour to 25 miles per hour. And they told me that I had to hold both brake levers, twist the throttle to 100%, and then press and hold everything, including the power button, for 10 seconds. So that's what I did. I went like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And when I went to pedal assist 3, I was getting 24.7 miles per hour. The first time I did it, it didn't work because I think I originally changed the P8 setting to 100%. I had to change it back to 67, and I think it worked. They said that if that doesn't work, you can also change it to 25 and try it again, and let me know if this procedure worked for you. Repeating that procedure didn't seem to disable it. I found a different way to disable it. I went back to P8 and changed it from 67 to 68. So if you go back, the speed limit is now back to 19.8 miles per hour. And then if I go back to P8 and change it back to 67, it goes back to 24.7 miles per hour. Now I'm going to test acceleration and max speed in each of the pedal assist levels 1 through 3 with pedaling only and throttle only. In pedal assist 0, pedal assist does not work. So pedal assist 1, let's pedal. I felt the motor kick in, and I'm getting 9.3 miles per hour. In pedal assist 2, $15.4 miles per hour. Pedal assist 3, $19.8 miles per hour. Let's try the same thing with the throttle only. Pedal assist 1, $9.3 miles per hour. Pedal assist 2, $15.4 miles per hour. Pedal assist 3, $19.8 miles per hour. I'm going to test the brakes.
I'm gonna hit the max speed of 19.8 miles per hour and then slam on the brakes to see how soon it stops. We hit 19.8 miles per hour at this first orange cone. Okay, so our front wheel stopped between the second and third cone. That's about 15 feet. For the suspension, it feels like there's shocks. There's no adjustments to them, not that I can see. Moving on to the review of the Hitway BK29 e-bike. What I like most about this e-bike is how it looks. It's the retro style e-bike and it definitely looks nice with the seat up there. I also like the giant headlight. It's very bright at night. It's nice that they have disc brakes on the front and rear. There's an adjustable shock in the back. There's suspension in the front. There's also a tail light. It's very simple to use and there's a lot of torque. It's also nice that the battery is removable, so you can take this off and charge it while leaving the bike downstairs. The tires have good grip, everything works, and the ride is very comfortable. In terms of suggestions, it would have been nice if they also had hydraulic disc brakes. These are just the cable pull disc brakes. They don't feel as smooth as hydraulic, but I know that the e-bike will probably be more expensive if they had hydraulic brakes, but hydraulic brakes do feel better. Also, this front suspension, it works, but I noticed that there's no adjustments. You can't lock it or unlock it. It just feels like there's springs inside, but they seem to do the job. This rear suspension is also pretty basic. It just has a spring. The seat is somewhat hard, so when I'm sitting on it, it does hurt my thighs a little bit, but that's just a minor complaint. Other than that, everything works. Also make sure that this handle bracket is very tight. There's been occasions where I hit some bumps and this entire handlebar flipped backwards. This e-bike sells for around $800 to $1,000. For the latest pricing, please check out the description section below. Please like this video if you found it helpful. Feel free to leave questions and comments in the comment section below. And if you want to see more videos like this, please subscribe to my channel. Thank you guys for watching and take care.